The MICE, or Meetings, Incentives, Conferences and Exhibitions industry, is one of the fastest growing segments at the moment, generating substantial revenue for cities like Dubai. The potential of the exciting calendar of year-round events heading towards Expo 2020 is making the sector more vibrant than it has ever been. Simon Meller is president of DMG Events and he's with us here on Emirates News this evening. Simon, great to have you with us. What kind of growth are we seeing then in the events and exhibitions business?
Evening, Greg. I think generally the recovery is fast underway. We've had an interesting period over the last 3 or 4 years, as you can imagine. Something of a downturn, but that is now bouncing back. We've seen this year a substantial recovery in visitor attendance across most of the major shows. But in addition to that, we're now starting to see overseas governments supporting trade missions coming in. They're starting to recover from their own domestic recessions and are realising that the way to push their economies forward is through overseas trade, and therefore the Middle East, which is seen by many sectors as one of the very fast moving economies and bouncing back from that global recession, perhaps more than other regions, as a key sector for them. And that's driving the growth of the big business to business trade shows.
Are you now turning to social media to promote your events?
In the sense of recently, yes. I mean, we've been involved in social media across all of our events for about 3 years. It's a very interesting area. It is growing quite dramatically, and it offers a new dimension of what I would describe as the marketing mix. Classically, marketing directors will have a budget and they'll invest that budget across a range of tools, of which face-to-face meetings and exhibitions and incentives are one. Press and media, radio, public relations being the other elements of it. And certainly social media is key. It's a wonderful tool for our particular industry, because when you consider the size of some of the shows that we put on, 60, 70,000 people over 4 days, being able to connect with the people that you want to meet is absolutely essential. So it's a really useful addition to our tools and marketing that we use to promote to our visitors.
I mean, one thing I've noticed going to these events over the years is that they've also become very audio-visual.
Yep.
Is that also very important now for any company that's exhibiting at one of these events?
I think there's a number of answers to that question. I think if you're a business, for example, bringing your wares and services to this region for the first time, social media is a great mechanism to work with the organizer to if you like, offer up a teaser or a temptation of what it is you're bringing over. And that's very dynamic with social media. Clips of video, short interviews with senior dignitaries that are coming in to be met by the visiting attendants is fantastic. So that's a key part. As is within the event itself. We are heavily involved now in developing apps around the shows, which again enables people to find what they're looking for very quickly. So it is definitely a growing part of what we're doing now.
So what would you say is the key to hosting a big event in Dubai? For example, let's take the Big Five, the construction event.
Yep. I think now content. If I look over the last probably 3 or 4 years, following that downturn when perhaps companies had a little bit less money to invest in employees travelling overseas to large events, what we've had to do is think a little more cleverly and to build the value. It's not now just about coming and seeing product on a booth. It's about coming and attending seminars, workshops. It's about networking with individuals of similar caliber and similar position as yourself. It's wanting to really give value beyond just I saw a new product or I met a new distributor. And that's been key to our strategy in the last 3 years.
Just one final question for you, Simon. Expo 2020, we're heading rapidly towards that. What kind of opportunities is that going to throw up for business here?
I think it's going to do 2 things. I think it's going to increasingly, and don't misjudge this statement, Dubai is on the map, and it's on the map in a very large way around the world. But in a similar way that the Olympics, when they were hosted in Beijing, really opened people's eyes to China and the opportunities that existed, the Expo increasingly, as it gets closer, is going to do that more and more. It's going to make people realise that the Middle East, which is a very diverse and fast-moving set of economies, is here, and it's something that you should be actively involved in, and that's how it's going to help. It's going to create if you like, a plume of opportunity over the next 3 or 4 years as we approach 18, 19, and then obviously 20 itself.
Great, well, appreciate your time. Simon Mellor, many thanks.
You're welcome.